Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Band vs. Artist podcast, and I'm Justin, and I'm here with my bandmates, Dylan and Patrick.
Hello.
Hey.
And we are in the progressive rock, experimental rap, little bit of everything group, Process of Fusion, and this is our show where we basically get to hear other people's creative influences and just talk shop on what makes people tick, how they're entrepreneurs in their craft and what they do. And we just like to have conversations that matter. So, Dylan, Patrick,
What's up?
what do you think?
I think this is gonna be a pretty good episode. We have a really cool guest.
We have Sam Sutherland of This Exists YouTube channel and a bunch of other great things which he'll tell you about. As he tells us, he's a man of many stuffs.
Yeah, just
Many
we noted,
stuffs.
Just we noted, we're doing this after it happened. It's a crazy time warp thing.
Yeah. We traveled back.
We went to the future, saw the interview, came back. We listened to the interview, and now this is the intro.
Yeah. All right. So without further ado, here's the interview with Sam Sutherland. The Band vs. Artist podcast is powered by Kings of A&R, the #1 source for tastemakers and music industry professionals looking to find the hottest and best artists on the scene now. Hey, this is Justin of Process of Fusion, and I'm here with Dylan and Patrick, and this is the Band vs. Artist podcast.
Hello again.
Hello.
And today we are here with special guest Sam Sutherland, all the way from Canada. And
I traveled all this way, guys. I traveled all this way.
traveled all this way. He is the host of YouTube show This Exists. He is an author. He loves punk rock music and is in a punk band. And he does a lot of other stuff. So, Sam, what are these things that you do to keep yourself occupied in this 2016 industry of everything?
Yeah, man. I'm just trying to keep my hands busy with like Idle Hands or the Devil's Plaything. Is that the Devil's Plaything? That's right.
It's close.
Workshop, I've heard. Idle Hands
Workshop.
Devil's Workshop, I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That makes more sense. Have you guys seen the movie Idle Hands with Devon Sawa?
I know Devon Sawa.
So I think it was Devon Sawa. It was back with Devon Sawa. So anyway, it was a great movie about his hands getting like taken over by demons or whatever. The Offspring plays a school dance. It's truly fantastic.
Oh, you know what? I think I know this movie, and he's like in his living room on his couch, and all this crazy stuff's happening in it. I think in one part.
Yeah, it sounds about right, man. I don't think I've seen it since high school, but that's probably something that happens in the film Idle Hands.
That should be a This Exists episode, probably.
just talking about the film career of Devon Sawa. All the people that are like 15 and watch the show will be like, I have no idea what this is. So to answer your question, what I do with my time in 2016 is like watch the movie Idle Hands.
Just be like
Every day.
For everyone who doesn't know, this is the guy. This is Stan from Eminem's music video. This is the crazy guy.
The kids still know Stan, right? Yeah.
I think they still know Stan. So
that's a timeless jam.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. So to
answer your question,
so the answer. This has been great.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks so much for your time, guys. I gotta go. So I run a YouTube channel called This Exists, which is all about kind of exploring the context and the history of sort of weird pieces of popular culture. So rebel rap in Cuba, or the growing libertarian seasteading movement, or how much black metal just sounds exactly like surf rock.
Yeah, so, we just looked at that one.
Just running the gamut on things, and then I have a full-time job. I work for an agency here in Toronto, where I've traveled from to be on this podcast, and. Yeah, as you mentioned, I play in a band. I used to write a lot more. I used to be an editor at a national music magazine here in Canada. But I sort of wrapped things up when I finished my first book a couple of years ago and have barely written since. And I think that's like sort of the gist of it. That's like how I spend my time.
I think that's enough.
and you watched the movie Idle Hands, so yeah, all of that together.
Yeah, exactly. You would imagine, like, obviously that takes up a lot of my time. So I basically never sleep. I spend 8 hours a night watching Idle Hands.
So
Refreshes.
So my second question for you is, and I definitely want to get this out of the way.
Yeah, please.
Giant Killer Shark the musical.
Yeah.
Can we please?
That is a great response.
Can we please
Yeah.
talk about this? I really,
Yeah.
it's not even a question. I'm just telling you. Speak about this,
Just
please.
Please.
Need to deal with. Yeah. So when I was in college, I wrote a musical version of Jaws, called for legal reasons called Giant Killer Shark the musical.
That's awesome.
And we did it in Toronto. We did it off Broadway in New York. We did it in Winnipeg, which is actually an amazing city and has a great fringe festival. And we kind of performed it for about 3 years, and it helped. It helped me pay for college. Like, I paid for college with musical money. It was like my job, and it was an amazing experience. I did it with a guy that I'm still in a band with. We learned to sing together in this Jaws musical, and my wife was the stage manager, but back before she was my wife. So Giant Killer Shark the musical has been nothing but good to me.
And I guess how what were you? I'm sure you. I guess this was the movie you watched before Idle Hands. So
Before I was obsessed with Idle Hands, I was obsessed with Jaws. Yeah, it was just like I grew up obsessed with the movie Jaws and with sharks in general. I was not an athletic kid. I was not into sports. I didn't get into music really until I was in the 7th grade. And so basically from the time you could be interested in things to the 7th grade, all I cared about was sharks, and I had a VHS dub of Jaws, and it was just how I kind of lived. And at some point, I just decided to do this musical version of it, kind of as a school project. I went to university for radio and television, so we had access to recording studios, and so one sort of spring or fall or whatever, I just recorded this entire soundtrack to a musical that didn't exist yet, and then we ended up in the Toronto Fringe Festival, and the whole thing kind of just took off from there.
That's really awesome.
And would you ever?
It's fun. It was really one of the silliest things I've ever been a part of in my life. It pops up from time to time, and it's truly surprising and very special to me every time it does.
Do you think you'd ever be able to do something like that again, or was that you feel like that was just one of those once in a lifetime things that hit you and you ran with it, and that's it now?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about trying to follow it up with kind of the core crew that had kind of worked on it for a few years, and there was never just quite the right thing. It was this weirdly innocent, kind of perfect little thing. And we started trying to do maybe short versions of it. We were going to do other popular movies as off-brand musicals. So we wrote a 5-minute version of Fight Club called Brawl Bros, which I honestly still think is one of the best titles I've ever come up with. But it was, by the time we got around to it, we were all sort of doing a lot of other work, and it was kind of hard to find the thing that you thought would be perfect. And it was such a great experience. You kind of don't want to go back to the same well twice, and diminishing returns and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel you. I mean, that's got to be hard to follow up. It's got to be hard to follow up Giant Killer Shark.
There's no way. It wasn't going any further than that. So I kind of always look back at that and feel very satisfied with sort of when it stopped and how it stopped, and that I didn't try to go back and recreate it to lesser effect.
It sounds like you made the decisions that the filmmakers of Jaws failed to do, because there are just way too many Jaws movies. And
yeah, that's true. I tried to learn from their mistakes, where I was Jaws 3D? Like, really? Although Jaws,
Kevin Bacon is in it now. Oh boy.
I know. It's there's a lot.
Is
There's
it
a lot to
Randy
love
Quaid's
about
first
later
movie?
Jaws.
Or Dan-
Jaws 2 is probably the worst
Dennis
one.
Quaid?
And they have Sharknado now.
How do you
so-
feel? Yeah, how do you feel about Sharknado?
You know what? I'm very cynical about anything that's so deliberately campy. Like, I think, I love terrible films, but I want them to be like Troll 2, like unintentionally terrible and therefore sort of quite sublime and beautiful. So I was very skeptical about Sharknado, but I watched it once, pretty late at night, probably like in a receptive state, so to speak, and I was like, this is amazing. Like, this is. Thought it was so incredible. I don't know. It's one of the only things I've seen that's like tried to be bad and actually still been funny and not just been kind of embarrassing. So I was in.
All right, that works. And let's talk about your punk band and why.
Yeah,
I know you wrote a book on it, and why does just punk music resonate so much for you? And what do you think of punk music now? The state of it, I guess. Sorry, that was a bunch of questions. Pretty much,
man.
Punk rock. Talk about it.
Yeah. So I mean, when I was a kid, just sort of like getting into music that wasn't, Starlight Express or Cats or like the Beatles for the first time. The thing that like really kind of spoke to me was always punk, and at that point it was like very mainstream punk. It was like what I heard on the radio, Green Day and Blink-182 and stuff. But what's so exciting is that you kind of can dig a bit deeper from that, and you read the sleeve, and you see the thank yous, and you go find other bands that are maybe a little less popular, and there's a fairly like immediate thing there where you kind of realize the opportunity that exists in that space and the intimacy that exists in that space that you don't have in other genres. That there's an accessibility to it and an energy to it that you just like does not exist in any other space. It's like so wholly kind of unique there. And so that was just the thing that I became obsessed with. I was just sort of like what I lived, was like listening to records and like reading magazines and reading zines and like going to shows and going to local shows. And, that landscape is just so flattened. So, it feels the same to like go see a band play in front of a few thousand people who's more popular as it feels to like go and see a band play in a basement in Brampton. And so, that was just always the thing that really resonated with me, and the politics of it and the anger of it. And at the time I was straight edge. And so straight edge is tremendously appealing, I think, at that age, and obviously for some people who are older as well. And in terms of what I think about it now, like I'm amazed by just the sort of sheer number of scenes that are accessible to people now, and there's like amazing sort of super DIY punk and hardcore stuff happening in Toronto, where I'm from, and like amazing bands and sort of community-run spaces, which is tough because it's a big city. And then I think that like the big name stuff is like still really good and fun. Like I can't wait for the new Blink-182 record. I can't wait for the new modern baseball record. It's still like not quite as big as Blink-182, but I think everything is good, and the internet just lets everyone connect. So everyone can kind of thrive in their own weird little space.
Do you feel the need to defend pop punk and have pizza with your friends?
Yeah, no, that has never been the version of pop punk that I sort of ascribed to too much. I mean, I, to be fair, like did eat pizza for dinner tonight. It's like over pizza because I had pizza like obviously on a day previous to this, so that's a lot of pizza.
Well, I mean, you were in New York with us, so of course you had New York pizza tonight. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I went to Vinny's. I went to Pizza's.
I mean, yeah, say Vinny, Tony's, or something, and you'll probably be right. There's at least 5 places. Probably.
We took him to the Real Ray's Pizza.
The Real Ray.
The Real Ray.
Yeah, Real Ray's, right? Thank you very much for letting me enjoy the Real Ray's pizza.
The original.
That's the real one.
You guys are from Staten Island, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so my grandma's from Staten Island.
Wow.
She ended up having to drop out of high school when she was a kid because her father had sort of left the household, and so she had to like take care of all the kids, and so she never got her high school diploma, and then she turned 100. Oh man, at this point, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, she turned 100. And so her high school in Staten Island like gave her her high school diploma, and she was like on the front of the like I don't know what the sort of local Staten Island paper is, but she was on the front of like the community paper and stuff. So I have very positive feelings towards Staten Island.
What high school, by the way?
You know what? I feel like I should look this up, right? Because like you guys go. Okay, I'll look this up. You can ask me whatever the next question is, and then I'll like blurt out.
Well, here's a good spot. Wait, what were you saying?
I know she went to St. Peter's
Okay.
Girls High School. So you guys probably did not go there.
No, but we do know of the school because there's a.
There you go. Yeah.
So we do know of the school. All right, now I'm sorry. Here's another question. Do you know what neighborhood she was from?
Oh, hold on. No, I do not. I do not know what part of Staten Island she was in. I remember one time I like saw her old house when I was in New York, but
chances are we've probably seen it too.
Yeah.
It's not very big here. I mean, we have the Wu-Tang Clan, we have good pizza, we have a ferry, and that's about it. A lot of bros, like Guido Bros.
We have a nice bridge.
Yeah, that's right. I've seen the television shows.
The Jersey Shore is really like the Staten Island Shore, but it's fine.
So much to be proud of, man.
And now, a word from our sponsors.
Okay, so save it to Microsoft Word. No, gosh darn, my computer won't work.
Well, take it to Computer Sam NYC. This guy can fix anything. He'll fix a broken laptop, a broken computer, a broken cell phone, broken tablet. This guy even fixes beepers. Who knows they made beepers anymore? I didn't. Just listen to all these satisfied customers.
My computer was broken, and all of a sudden, whoa, it's great again.
Mommy said the computer was broken, and then we called, what's his name? Sam, yeah, we called Sam, and now it's great again.
Hi, this is Nicolas Cage. I wanted to tell everybody how great Computer Sam really is. My computer wasn't working, and now it is, so that's great.
So remember, check computersam.nyc for your computer needs.
All right. I am recording again, so we're back live. They're passing the phone back to look at
Curious.
We're trying to find out everything about
because
your
apparently
grandmother.
this is more interesting than speaking to you apparently for them.
I think it's just cool. It's a small world.
That's a
out
real
of all
crazy
from
connection.
Toronto, out of all the places.
Yeah,
Staten Island, New York.
right?
I mean, it's surreal for us because it's just
Yeah, we usually don't get good shout outs anywhere. All right, so
all right.
back to the topic at hand.
Good.
How did the idea of This Exist come about, and what was it really supposed to be before it took off? Because I remember when the channel first started, and I didn't feel like you had like a expectation that it would turn into what it did. So I guess how did that all come about?
Yeah, so my background is in radio and television and stuff. Like for a while, I worked at MTV here in Canada, and I was like a host and a producer on MTV Live. But I left because it was just like this sort of extremely corporate and not super fun and creative environment anymore. And so I went to work at this sort of newer media company here in Canada called Blue Ant Media, and part of what they were doing was trying to make a lot of original video on YouTube. And so it was really fun because we were just like at that time I was working with all my friends. We were just making all this like super bonkers weird stuff trying to see what would hit. And so this sort of came out of that. It came out of me sort of getting really into YouTube for the first time and finding stuff that I was really interested in for the first time beyond just like, I mean, I obviously use YouTube all the time for like music videos and viral videos and stuff, but, you know, discovering things like Idea Channel and Vsauce and that sort of like style of kind of like super entertaining but super smart and very direct and not kind of dissimilar to stuff that I was always kind of trying to do when I was at MTV. And so it started as a kind of work project, and it kind of, you know, like everything, it hadn't really found an audience for a long time. So it was just sort of like a creative outlet. And then I don't even remember like when, at this point, when it started blowing up. But it's weird because it's sort of blown up in phases where it was just like it had 1,000 subscribers forever, and then one day I woke up and it was like 20,000, and you're like, this is insane. And then it's just sort of like one day you wake up and it's 100, and you're like, what happened? And so I'm constantly shocked by the way that it continues to grow.
Yeah, I think I heard about the channel. I was watching, it was either a Matt Santoro video or a Rob Dyke video, and one of them shouted you out or linked to something, and then that's how actually I found the channel. So it's kind of crazy.
Awesome. Yeah, it would have been Rob. Rob's been amazing. I've done like 2 things with Rob, and he's like so supportive. And he's been amazing. Like when he had a few hundred subscribers, and now he's got, you know, over 2 million. So
yeah, I feel like YouTube is becoming this community where lots of these top channels are all sort of working together to make a community for people to thrive in. And it's almost like, it's not even like, you know, that you really owe these people something. Like, people are just finding what creators do interesting, and everyone's just collaborating and connecting. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I think that, you know, there's a real natural inclination once you've developed an audience and a platform yourself to want to kind of pay that forward and sort of try to, you know, prop up the people that are kind of where you just were. And because there's no harm. I mean, there's like helping someone else out doesn't, you know, mean less people are ever going to watch your video. So I think the whole platform kind of just rewards people just being good to each other, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and where do you kind of see this future of content creation going, or, you know, especially something like YouTube and how it just keeps growing and growing and all these new ideas, you know, do you really feel like it's ever going to hit a ceiling, or is there just always room to grow, and there's just so many different people doing things on it?
You stole my question.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, first of all, very rude of you to steal your friend's question.
I actually have this written down on a piece of paper, so, you know, he didn't. So
therefore, it's really your question to begin with.
Yeah, he read it. He read it off my paper.
I really didn't. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's going to be sort of an interesting moment that I think sort of a beachhead that we're getting to, where you know, YouTube has put a lot of money into trying to turn their biggest stars, their biggest creators, into more mainstream celebrities. Because even though, you know, the biggest channels on YouTube have, you know, tens of millions of subscribers, and a huge and meaningful audience, they're still sort of not recognized often sort of outside of that platform as, you know, people with talent and influence. And it's very strange that disconnect sort of continues to exist despite, you know, the, you know, wrapping of some subway stations in New York, or they did it in Toronto, and now there's tons of ads up in Toronto all about promoting, you know, Lily Singh and promoting Dude Perfect. Like, I see 8 of them as I walk home from work. But I think YouTube remains like extremely dense and difficult to navigate for just like a casual person. And so the as big as it is and as seemingly kind of unstoppable as it is, it's a very sort of impenetrable ecosystem for just like a casual person wanting to sort of find something that they're interested in that isn't like a video that their mom shared with them on Facebook. And so I think like that's their sort of big challenge right now, is to sort of find a way to flatten the platform a bit because otherwise it just continue to become like this more and more niche thing for kind of the same demographic that's already there, and that's not like going to be sort of successful in the long term, because the ad rates are sort of great for people like me, but not great for like the Viacoms of the world, and so they'll continue to have sort of difficulties getting like recognizably mainstream content on it as a platform. And so I think all that'll kind of have to get sorted out somehow in the next couple of years for the like super long-term viability of YouTube. I think I've worked through that. I think that's how I feel about the future of YouTube.
Yeah, I always wonder myself. I know a world without YouTube, and now there's a world with YouTube. It's the same thing with like thinking about certain. I don't know about you guys. Like, I don't really watch television very much anymore, and I figured like where would TV? TV wouldn't go anywhere, and now most people they're streaming and they're finding their content on the internet and stuff. And I just always wondered, like, will YouTube like taper out? Is it just the thing, or?
Yeah, I don't even have cable. I have Netflix, Hulu, and YouTube. That's what I have. That's what I watch. So it's a crazy, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's just
yeah, it's crazy, man. And everyone always thinks they're like living in the future. Like I'm reading a book right now called The Master Switch, all about the subtitle is like the rise and fall of information empires, and the opening quote in the book is like, "We are undoubtedly living in the future. Like, everyone thinks they're in the future, but this right now is the future." And it's a quote from like 1912, somebody at like a telegraph convention. I mean, everyone thinks that it's never going to change, and that whatever is popular now is permanent. It's never true. It's never been true. It'll never be true.
Yeah. I want that sort of along those lines. I know there was a point when This Exists, I guess, was canceled, right? And the people revolted, and they won the revolt, and This Exists came back. So how do you think that crowdfunding and things like Patreon and Indiegogo and just all these different platforms where it basically almost puts the action in the audience's hands, how do you think that changes the game for creators?
Yeah, I mean, I love Patreon. I think it's an amazing platform. I think crowdfunding is like so exciting, and when used responsibly, is like an amazing mechanism for creators of all kinds in every discipline. So I mean, you mentioned it. The show was originally this sort of work project, and then they didn't really want it at work anymore. But I had sort of a kind enough boss that I was able to basically buy the channel from them for like next to nothing, which is super rare. I mean, you see that all the time. You see with major people like Grace Helbig losing her channel a couple of years ago. It's rare for media companies to behave so morally, and it's difficult because the show isn't. It was sort of conceived as something that I could write and deliver, but that I'm not a great editor. So there's this amazingly talented guy, Jim, who's been editing the show, and I was like, I don't want to just like, I want to keep making this, but like I cannot keep doing this on my own, and it's like really. It takes a lot of time to write and research and then edit an episode. And so it was like, really the only way we can do this is we're going to be making a few bucks. So we launched this Patreon campaign kind of at the suggestion of everyone in the comments, which was amazing. And it was super successful. And we've been sort of incredibly fortunate to have a wonderful group of people that's kind of been supporting us for, at this point, the better part of a year. And I think it's amazing that, people are able to find audiences and make, meaningful stuff for them without having to sort of compromise it for purely commercial purposes. Even so, if you want a bigger audience, you can still do that. But, people can find these like viable niches that allow them to keep making their art, whatever it is, whether it's, their music or their comic or their podcast or their YouTube channel. And I just think it's like remarkable that I think you're getting sort of more marginalized voices and just more sort of creative out there sort of media across all these different platforms, because of the ability to actually reach out and support someone at a time when like I don't pay a lot for any of this stuff. You know what I mean? You're saying it's like I have Netflix that costs me like $7 a month. I have like a Google Play Music subscription that's like $10 a month. I'm not paying very much for all of the media that I consume, and so I'm happy if there's a podcast I love to like give them $5 a month just to be like, I always want this podcast to be there. And I think it's kind of unfortunate when someone like Zach Braff starts like a Kickstarter and like pretends he needs people's money because like he has access to a studio system. And that's where I think it's like dodgy and unfortunate, but mostly I just think it's like a remarkable system.
Hey, if someone wanted to give us $5 a month to do our podcast, that would be $5 more a month than we're making off this. So I guess that's the goal.
Do it though. Like honestly, it's amazing. And like that's the thing is like if 5 people donate, it's like great. You can like buy yourself a pizza and a 2-for,
Nice. I know you said you had half an hour. We're a little over it. So I'll give you.
Well, we started a bit late, but so let's like do like another 5 minutes or whatever. Let's chat.
Oh, okay. Well, if you're having fun, then we'll go another 5 minutes. Well, I have. Okay, so
we have 24 more questions.
Yes, we just pulled out the scroll.
Yeah, exactly. Just like we do rapid fire.
Well, 10, we already covered the "Where's your grandma from?" question.
Yeah, that was. That's usually the first question we ask.
Who's your daddy?
Oh, what does he do? I got a question. Vor.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
I made sure to show them that right before we started it, and you couldn't have said it any better.
It's very timely because I before Justin showed me the video, I too recently found out about it, like just I don't know, a couple of days ago, and I don't really know how I found it. It's like one of those things where you think back on how you found something out. It's just like it's so weird. I don't know who I was talking to or what dark depth of the internet I was in.
Life.
Yeah, and I'm just like, well. I guess to quote your YouTube channel, this does exist. Like this exists now. Thank you.
Right?
And you said nothing in the video, so here's your chance.
I think he's still saying. I think it's his statement still stands.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Fair enough. Because I mean, all we can say was just why watching the videos. Because I found out about it, but I didn't know. I'd never seen like animations of it.
I happen to know an animator, and I know how time consuming that really is, especially when you're talking about all the colors and the detail. And that took someone a very long time to make. And that just upsets me even more. All right, we need a new question.
It's for sure no joke. Like it is honestly shocking. Like you're like, this was your life for sure. For like weeks, this was all you focused on.
I almost unsubscribed.
I guess bottom line is people like what they like. I can't judge. I mean, I could.
No, we could definitely judge.
I could judge. Yeah, I mean, I can't really say anything. I mean, hey, more power to them, I guess. But.
So with that being said, you have spoken about and shown a lot of crazy things through the videos of This Exist. So putting Vor aside, and please put it far away. What is one of the craziest or weirdest things that you encountered or just research that you found yourself digging through and putting out an episode? Like what's something that will forever unfortunately haunt you?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I mean, the Vor one was definitely weird. I will say, I did a video about Iruguru, which is like this sort of Japanese art movement, short for erotic, grotesque nonsense. It sort of had all stemmed from this sort of weird lecture that I went to in Toronto. There's this like really cool old movie theater called the Royal, and they do all these like weird kind of events. So they had this sort of woman, an academic who had studied all this sort of Japanese cinema, giving this speech about this movement and showing clips from these movies, and like. And I was just like, this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And then like went home and just like could not stop reading about it. And it's just like, it's this like immensely horrifying imagery and just like just extremely sort of demented films, and ultimately like very troubling images sort of being thrown at you constantly. And so that one for sure, like when I close my eyes sometimes, like behind my eyelids, I'm seeing like some horrifying Iruguru film. Absolutely.
Was there ever anything that you were like, wow, this is so insane, I can't even put this on the channel?
Yeah, like I said, that was a follow up question I was gonna have, was like, is there anything that you found out but you just never made a video on because of
reasons?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's just too much. I mean, there's like some stuff that like I'm trying to figure out a way to cover. The video that I actually just published today, on the day that we're sort of taping this, is all about like vigilante pedophile hunters on YouTube. And so it's like kind of a weird one, where it's like not just like, oh, isn't this crazy? Friggin' there's white power rappers. So talking about sort of people who are hunting pedophiles like in their spare time is like a weird, more sort of morally ambiguous one. So like that was one that like took me a while to sort of get around to the idea of sort of talking about. I'm trying to think. I don't think there's a lot that I wouldn't do. Like I know a lot of the people that are watching it are like a little younger, and so I've tried to dial back on like my swearing and stuff recently. But besides not saying the F word like quite as frequently, I don't think there's much that's like too far. I want to do a thing about otherkin, but I don't want to like just make fun of otherkin. That's it. I'll do anything. I'm cool. I'm edgy like that.
Should we not Google what otherkin is?
No, go ahead, man. Go crazy. Learn all about otherkin.
You know what? I feel like I did know what that was because I've definitely heard it before, and I probably looked at it and was like, yeah, let's forget this.
Your Google search history is going to be his grandmother.
and otherkin.
It's quite questionable. What?
Yeah,
if the FBI were to seize your computer, you might be in trouble.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of these folks.
Never heard of this. This is pretty cool. You should tell them.
You just gotta live incognito. That's like the only way.
Yeah. Other.
We had one of them we had someone on Staten Island last year. Do you remember?
Yes.
The girl who was.
She was our dog, and her boyfriend was the master. Yeah. Yeah, that happens.
The thing, man, like all types, man. All types welcome. I don't want to like make fun of anybody, but it's also like, it is what it is.
Have you seen any good sitcoms lately? Like particularly any about Hitler that you would like to talk about?
It's funny. You should ask that.
I sent that video to Patrick a few months ago because you're a German history major, right?
Yes, I studied history and I kind of focused on German history in college.
So,
wow.
So I sent him the Nazi Donald Duck one, and I just showed him the Hitler one. So I was like, wow, this is right up your alley.
I'm glad I could be making something for someone with such specific interest. That's
yeah, that actually is perfect.
There is a, I don't know if you would just call it a sitcom, but there's I think it was on Netflix in Germany. There's a new show that kind of, it's the same concept, obviously not as sitcom-y, like I don't think there's any laugh tracks, but in German, it's based on a book. In German, it's called ist wieder da, which is like, look who's back. And it's Hitler in a modern setting, and he works in an office. And this is in Germany, too. And yeah.
I feel
like, amazing.
I feel like these things are usually reserved for like sort of religious sort of things where it's like, let's place Jesus in a modern setting in today's world. Or, what would it be like to be, take a caveman and put him, and then Germany was like, no, let's bring Hitler back and let's throw him in an office building, and hilarity ensues. It's kind of crazy.
I mean, just much respect to the Germans for always taking everything too far. Like it's good. It's a proud history.
All right, so I guess that was a good 5 minutes. Is there anything else that you wanna, any other knowledge that you wanna drop on us or tell us about, or
I
anything
feel like
that's
we've
happening?
covered the complete extent of my knowledge. Beyond this, I am devoid of any knowledge. No, it's a real pleasure chatting, guys. I appreciate you taking time and looking up my fascinating, Jaws musical history.
I think that's the most fantastic thing I've ever heard. By the way, yeah.
And what's the name of your punk band? Give your band a plug.
My band is called Junior Battles.
Junior Battle.
Junior Battles.
And that's featuring Giant Killer Shark co-star Aaron Zorgel as well.
Okay.
So it's like you kind of get a sense of the Junior Battles or the Giant Killer Shark experience.
It is a must. It is now a must hear.
Oh yeah, get into it, man.
All right, so we'll check it out, and thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much,
This has
man.
been fun.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun.
For
Guys,
us,
thank you so much for your time. I think it's cool what you're doing. So stoked to be a part of it.
yeah, man. This does exist. So thank you
Good
for
one.
existing
Yeah.
and doing what you do.
Awesome, man. Thank you very much.
All right, man.
right.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Okay, cheers, guys. Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye. All right.
So I guess we got to bring him to the airport now. Right?
Yeah, that was Sam Sutherland of This Exists. Let's get a little clap. That was a really good podcast.
That was a lot
That was
of fun.
probably one of the.
I don't have it at the ready, but
Do we? I gotta find an applause track
Yeah.
to throw in here.
Applause and air horn.
That was fantastic. That was one of the best podcasts, I think.
wow, way to downplay everybody else
Yeah.
that's been on the podcast.
Yeah, I mean they've been good, but they haven't been Sam good.
Well, I think I feel
Just kidding,
I feel-
everyone.
I
Kenny,
feel-
you all right?
I feel like
Twice?
Yeah, twice. A missed opportunity to kind of like tell him that I really appreciate what he does, because like every now and then, like I'll be on the internet and I'll fall down some rabbit hole,
Yeah.
and I'm literally sitting there saying out loud, I can't believe this exists.
Yeah.
And I knew about the channel. And it was just perfect. It hits exactly what you want, but
It hits it in all the right places.
it's like that's what everyone wants to know, just the darkest, deepest secrets of
Tell me the recesses of your soul.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. It gets pretty dark.
If you're looking to sponsor or take out an ad on this podcast, contact me, Justin, on Twitter at jsarachik_POF. JSARACHIK_POF on Twitter. Hit me up and we'll talk. So, post-hardcore is having a very nice little revival here. Wouldn't you say?
yeah.
Everyone's favorite band seem to be coming back. Tomorrow we are going to see Under Oath.
Let's date this. This is April the 14th.
Today is April 14th. Tomorrow,
Thursday.
April the 15th, we are going to see Under Oath.
Actually, they're playing in New York right now.
Yeah, they're
That's
playing
right.
right now.
The PlayStation Theater.
So
Theater.
tomorrow we're going to see them at Starland Ballroom. They will be playing They Are Only Chasing Safety and Define the Great Line, right? Back to back. I'm actually very worried for my well-being about going to the show tomorrow. Just watching their comeback videos has been visually assaulting.
Not that the band is bad, it's just the people that are in these
people are
crowds.
Just going bananas.
I'm too old for this.
I consider myself a bit of a baby when it comes to going to shows.
We're not moshers.
Yeah, we're the ones that like stand in the back and like look
Yeah.
stern, but we're really enjoying ourselves.
We're not the hardcore kids. We're the ones who get pissed when the people moshing keep bumping into us, but then we still stand there. That's
idiots.
kind of what we do. And then we're seeing
in
Thrice.
June.
Thrice
June.
in June.
Their
Yeah.
new album's coming out really quick.
That's soon. That's
May 27th.
And then Pat and I are seeing Brand New in July.
Were they on a hiatus
With
too,
Modest
or
Mouse.
were they?
Brand New does this wonderful thing where they go away for like 3 years, and then all of a sudden they come on Facebook and they're like, okay, we're playing 3 shows, and then they're sold out.
Kind of sounds like us, minus the
d-
sold out part.
They don't even finish the status. The shows are sold out. They make a crap load of money, and then they go away for like 2 years.
you go.
So
Alright.
we caught them on one of their springs of coming back. Apparently they have a new record that they're coming out, but I'm really excited. Under Oath, Brand New, Thrice, 3 of my favorite bands, and I get to see them in a row.
Three bands that I've never seen live either.
Yeah,
You haven't seen
never
any of them?
I've
Yeah.
only, I've only seen Under Oath once, and it wasn't even this lineup. It's pretty exciting.
The OG.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess hardcore fans would argue.
Oh,
I don't-
it was the other drummer. What's his name? David?
No. What's his? Aaron's always the drummer, but I meant the other guitarists, the other bass player.
Oh, wait, it's all new guys?
No. Like Under Oath before, they're only chasing safety.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
All right.
Come on,
Sorry, I was
Dylan.
trying to dig deep.
Yeah, we're not digging deep. Actually, Joey has seen that Under Oath.
I know he's in a. Didn't you say he's in a YouTube like a video?
He has a YouTube video of Under Oath from like
That's right, yeah.
2001.
He doesn't have the one where
You can't hear anything. Though.
Okay, all right.
It's just and it just blurs out the whole everything. We'll find it. This does exist.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sam.
We'll call up
we're
Sam.
really just gonna ruin your show with this exists jokes. Yeah, and Thrice and Brand New is super fun, and we do have one of. I'm gonna do a really New York thing. You guys' favorite band's The Deer Hunter.
Oh yeah,
That's right.
we're gonna be interviewing
Casey Crescendo.
of
Yeah.
the Deer Hunter. That's awesome.
Dylan's
Very
voice
exciting.
got so tender as we mentioned it. You could tell how excited he is.
Well, we actually had the privilege of seeing him perform last Wednesday
Yeah.
at
that
the
was
Bell
just- that
House
was just
in
last
Brooklyn.
Wednesday? I feel
That
like
was
a
last
while
Wednesday.
ago
I
for
know.
some
What's the
reason.
date? What's the date?
Well, that was the 6th, I believe.
Yeah, I
Or
think
the
it
8th.
was.
April
6th.
6th.
Yeah.
it was 6th.
And it was Casey and
Andy Hall,
Andy Hull from Manchester Orchestra and the
Nathan.
M.
Oh, this is bad. If he's any
He was
fans-
really good too.
Yeah, yeah.
I've been meaning to download his record since then. But all three of them played acoustic. They didn't play with the whole bands behind them, and they all put on really good shows in different ways too. Right?
Yeah.
I felt like the first guy was engaging, in just his dynamics.
He
were
kept.
really,
He definitely kept it going.
Yeah.
He did most of his banter while playing.
Yeah.
Depending on if the crowd was like rowdy. I think the problem was, a lot like us. A lot of people got to that show super early.
Yeah.
So they just got a lot of drinks in them.
Yeah.
So they were very rambunctious.
Yeah.
And the fact that it was an acoustic act made it like any downtime, anybody that whispered anything
You
could
saw
be
him.
heard from across the room. So it was very weird to kind of like
and from the stage.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I love acoustic stuff from like some of your favorite bands or artists because you really just see the or hear the bare bones of the song, and it almost makes it like it's almost like you're hearing a completely brand new song. And
not the band Brand New song.
yeah, well, even Brand New acoustic is phenomenal too because you're essentially just getting a track a different way from your favorite artist, and it, and if they pull it off well, it sounds great. Like there's a lot of people who do acoustic stuff of songs that shouldn't be done acoustic, and it kind of stinks. But people like Dustin from Thrice and Aaron from Under Oath and I guess Jesse Lacey. That's what I did from Brand New. Like these guys have good voices and they could sit there with the guitar and make some magic, which is really fun for me. So I'm sure Casey, it was the same exact thing.
Yeah, and for me, I'm not as familiar with Andy Hull or even Manchester Orchestra, so to kind of feel it in a very stripped back way. It was a lot of fun. It was really cool.
Yeah.
A lot of rambunctious people at that show.
Yeah.
That we will talk to Casey about. I think
Undoubtedly.
that's definitely one of the things he's got to remember. Hopefully.
Hopefully, yeah.
Remember
By the time the tour is over.
Yeah.
So.
And what about us? We are coming back for our first show in a very long time.
Yeah.
On May 14th, everybody, at the hashtag bar.
This is really not going to work if someone's listening to this May 15th.
Well, this is going to be out before May 15th. On May 14th, at the hashtag bar, Process of Fusion returns for the first time in like 8 months. And we're going to play some new songs, right?
That's right, we are.
What songs? They're called Foxholes, The Circular, right? Those are the two new
Those are
songs.
the two new
It's
ones.
Foxholes, the circular.
Yes.
Foxholes. the
Yeah,
circular.
sorry. And then we may hit you with some old stuff. But
Old stuff.
we've been in the studio, as we've said on other episodes, recording. We have 4 songs kind of done, right? And the foundation for some other stuff. Shout out to Nick from Zin Records,
we will
Zin
absolutely
Studios,
get
Zin
on this.
Records.
We
Yeah.
will absolutely get on this podcast.
Yeah,
This guy is he's awesome. He's a lot of fun, very talented.
Can we broadcast from Fun Shows?
No.
Yeah, shout out to Fun Shows too.
Can we get a Fun Shows endorsement?
Fun Shows alone fuels the recording of this record. For every burrito we've put away, goes to every note that we hit on, and every dormant milkshake that just sits in the studio not being drank.
That sounds like lyrics to a song. Like for every dormant milkshake.
It's gonna be now.
Could be like a Fall Out Boy
It could
song
be.
title.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Pete Wentz.
For every.
Does he write the lyrics?
Yeah, he
He
does.
does.
Get out of here, really?
Yeah.
Most of them, yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay.
So, all right. What are our closing thoughts for the podcast?
It's a good episode. Sam's a great dude. Really glad I can get him to New York.
Yeah, Sam, you have to come to New York, man, and hit us up. We won't be able to introduce you to the Wu-Tang Clan, but we can get you a nice slice of pizza.
Yeah.
We could take him to Wohop.
Oh, yeah. That's like our kind of what's the word? Like if ever we have anybody cool coming from out of state, that's like our. Can you guys help me?
I'm trying to. I'm
Like
not sure what you're getting
it's
at.
like our. It's kind of like our welcome to the city kind of.
Okay.
It's our landmark restaurant.
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And Sam, if we go to Canada or Toronto, you have to get us some cheese curds and gravy. You have to show us the best spot.
Is that Montreal?
I don't know.
Is it?
I'm gonna get schooled, bro.
I mean, I know it's a thing in Montreal. I don't know if it's a thing in Toronto. It might be. You might be right.
You can listen to the Band vs. Artist podcast on YouTube. Just search Process of Fusion and you'll find our channel. Or you can stream or download the entire thing at processoffusion.bandcamp.com. And check out the other episodes. We got a lot of great conversations and a lot of great things going on. So check it out.
Bye.
But
All right, so again, this was the Band vs. Artist podcast. I'm Justin.
I am Patrick.
I'm Dylan. That was so dumb. I can't believe we just did
Is
that.
there an air horn?
No, I don't have that ready.
It's all right. We're
come
keeping
on.
that outro live, but we'll
I don't even have the app.
next time we'll talk to you guys next time about the cool shows that we're seeing, and hopefully we have some more awesome guests. As I said, we have Casey from the Deer Hunter. We have my friend Tim Trudeau from Syntax Creative, talking to Speech Thomas of the legendary hip-hop group Arrested Development. And I believe there's some others, but I won't reveal everything yet. So, this is us signing off. Peace out.
Peace.